Close your eyes for just a second. I mean it, really picture this. You're walking through a vibrant, dense forest. High up in the canopy, birds are singing. Over in the distance, monkeys are calling out. You've got insects buzzing all around you, and somewhere right beneath your feet, millions of tiny ants are silently exchanging information. It's like a symphony, right? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going on a seriously fascinating journey right into the hidden world of animal communication. So have you ever stopped to wonder, maybe you're watching a nature documentary or just looking out your window at a squirrel, do animals actually have languages? I mean, do they actually have names for each other? Can they share detailed, highly specific information the same way you and I do? Well, as it turns out, the way animals communicate is way more complex than scientists used to believe. In fact, some animals can do things that are surprisingly close to human language. Section 1. Decoding the Animal Kingdom. Okay, let's dive into this. Before we can really understand exactly how these creatures are talking to each other, we have to look at the foundational reasons why they even need to exchange information in the first place. And honestly, animals communicate for a lot of the exact same crucial reasons we do. They need to warn each other about danger, they've got to attract mates, defend their territory, find food, maintain their social bonds, and, of course, care for their young. But, unlike humans, most animals aren't accomplishing these tasks using spoken language with nouns and verbs and grammar. Instead, they rely on a totally different toolkit. We're talking sounds, body movements, chemicals, touch, and even vibrations. Section 2. The Honeybee GPS Dance. We're escalating the complexity here big time with an absolutely extraordinary discovery. This was made back in the 1940s by an Austrian biologist named Carl von Fritsch. What he found was, essentially, insect GPS data. Seriously, let's walk through these algorithmic steps together because it is mind-blowing. Step 1, a worker bee finds a great source of nectar. Step 2, she heads back to the hive. But here is where the magic happens. Step 3, she performs what scientists call a waggle dance. Now, this isn't just some random happy wiggle. The specific angle of this dance tells the other bees the precise direction of the food relative to the sun. And then, step 4, the duration of that waggle, that tells them exactly how far away the food source is. She is literally communicating pure location data through dance. How cool is that? Now, if that sounds a little too incredible to be true, you should know scientists have actually spent decades studying this behavior. Modern experiments have even used actual robotic bees. Yeah, they programmed these tiny little robots to perform the waggle dance, and they absolutely confirmed that living bees will follow these exact programmed instructions to go find the advertised food source. It's just an absolutely remarkable level of information transfer for an insect. Section 3. Meaning in mammal alarms. So when we shift our focus away from insects and look at mammals, communication becomes deeply meaning-based. Back in the late 1970s and early 1980s, researchers Robert Seyfarth and Dorothy Cheney were out studying vervet monkeys in East Africa. And they discovered that these monkeys use completely different alarm calls for different predators. So if a leopard is nearby, they produce one specific call, right? And the monkeys immediately climb high up into the trees. But if an eagle appears in the sky, it's a totally different call, and their physical reaction changes. They hide beneath bushes. A snake? You guessed it, a completely different sound, and they all stand upright to scan the ground. They aren't simply reacting to blind panic. No, they're responding to highly specific data contained right there in the call. Many scientists consider this to be one of the absolute strongest examples of meaning-based communication in the entire animal kingdom. But here is the crucial part. This isn't purely instinctual right out of the gate. Later research showed that young, baby monkeys actually have to learn some of these associations over time. They make mistakes. This heavily suggests that experience plays a massive role in understanding their communication. It's not just a reflex, it's an acquired understanding. And the details can get staggeringly specific. Biologist Kon Slobochikov spent years studying prairie dog alarms, and he found that their vocalizations are essentially highly detailed suspect descriptions. Rapid fire, their calls can actually encode information about a predator's size, its speed, and its overall shape. In one incredibly famous study, the prairie dogs even appeared to produce different alarm calls based purely on the color of the shirts that the humans were wearing. That is just next-level observation. Section 4. Do animals have mans? So we've talked about locations and warnings, right? But what about individual identity? Can animals actually single each other out in a crowd? To answer that, let's look at dolphins. For decades, researchers like Vincent Janik and Layla Sai have studied bottlenose dolphins, and they've revealed that these animals produce what are called signature whistles. The best way to think about these whistles is, well, they're basically human name tags. Each dolphin develops its own unique, distinctive whistle, and then other dolphins will actually copy that exact whistle to address or identify that specific individual. And get this, even when researchers removed all other voice characteristics from the audio recordings, the dolphins still recognize these whistles, so they are definitely responding to the identity being communicated, not just the sound of the caller's voice. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that more recent studies have shown mother dolphins actually modify their signature whistles when they're communicating with their calves. Basically, they're using a dolphin form of baby talk, which is just incredibly endearing. And dolphins are definitely not alone in this. Just recently, in 2024, researchers published evidence suggesting that African elephants may also use individually specific calls that function pretty much just like names. By using advanced machine learning and acoustic analysis, scientists found that elephants appear fully capable of addressing specific individuals using unique vocal labels. So what does this all mean? Well, it suggests that name-like communication might have evolved entirely independently across multiple totally different species.
Section 5. Invisible non-vocal networks.
Now, we need to shift our paradigm a bit here, because communication isn't always vocal, and it's certainly not always something we can even hear. There are entire hidden sensory worlds operating right under our noses. Ants, for example, rely heavily on chemicals called pheromones, and it is an amazingly efficient system. Step 1, an ant discovers some food. Step 2, it leaves a chemical trail right there on the ground as it heads back to the colony. And step 3, the other ants detect that specific trail and follow it directly to the source. We are literally talking about millions of ants coordinating astonishingly complex activities without speaking a single word. And honestly, beyond chemicals, there are vibrations. Spiders, they can send and receive messages just through the tension of their webs. Elephants can detect low-frequency vibrations traveling through the ground over vast, vast distances. Certain insects communicate by physically vibrating the very leaves and stems they happen to be standing on. These are entire, robust communication networks that are completely invisible and completely inaudible to human senses. Section 6. Is it actually language? So this brings us to a final question that really kind of challenges the human ego. Is all of this actually language? Well, most scientists right now would probably say no. Animals don't have language in the exact same way humans do. Human language contains highly complex grammar, infinite creativity, and the ability to discuss totally abstract concepts, like things that don't even exist. However, animal communication systems can still be unbelievably advanced, and this brilliantly illustrates that while it might not be language by our strict definition, it is deeply meaning-based. Many species can learn, they can adapt, and they can refine their communication over time. It is a highly sophisticated system in its own right. Which leaves us with this final, really powerful thought. The more scientists study this field, the more they realize that the natural world is filled with conversations happening all around us. We just don't understand them. From the geometric, algorithmic dance of a tiny honeybee to the low, rumbling ground vibrations of an elephant, we miss these rich exchanges simply because we aren't tuned to their frequencies. So the next time you're walking through the woods, or even just looking out your window, I want you to ask yourself, what conversations are you missing right now?